الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated for the formal program to begin, inshallah. The best of beginnings are with the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا اعدلوا traditional owners of the land on which we meet today. I pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. And I extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here with us today. Welcome all to the Islamic Society of South Australia's 70th anniversary. My name is Hani Fayed and I'll be your host and MC for the evening. We are honoured tonight by the presence of many distinguished guests, whose contribution and support we deeply value. To keep our evening flowing and enjoyable, I will be introducing and acknowledging our special guests at different moments throughout the night. We are especially honoured to welcome our keynote speaker tonight, the Honourable Bob Carr, former Foreign Minister of Australia and former Premier of New South Wales. We also warmly welcome our honoured Professor Muhammad Abdullah, Director of the Centre of Islamic Thought and Education, who will be addressing us later this evening. We recognise and welcome distinguished guests, Senator Sarah Hanson-Young, Ms Louise Miller-Frost MP, the Honourable Zoe Beddison MP, Minister for Multicultural Affairs, the Honourable Tony Piccolo MP, the Honourable Mira Abdelnawi MLC, the Honourable Jing Lee MLC, the Honourable Sarah Game MLC, Mayor Chris Hanna of the City of Marion and Ms Minerva Nasruddin, and Mayor Angela Evans of the City of Charleston. This evening, we are deeply honoured to have with us two tables of very special guests, tables 17 and 18. They are families who have come to Australia from Gaza, arriving just 1 year ago. They have faced and witnessed horrors unimaginable. And tonight, we welcome them not only to this event, but into the warmth of our community. I invite everyone here to put your hands together in a heartfelt show of support. Throughout the night, you may hear myself and some of our speakers use words and phrases that might be unfamiliar to you all. To help everyone follow along and even learn a little, we have placed some cue cards on your tables with the meanings of these words. Words like Alhamdulillah may be familiar, but by the end of tonight, I am sure you will also be confidently using words like Subhanallah, Jazakallah khairan, and even Samud. Tonight is about history, legacy, and the future. To start, let us journey through time with a short documentary that traces the story of the Islamic Society of South Australia, from the early Muslim Cameleers of 1838 to today. I ask that you pay close attention to this video, as later tonight we'll have a fun Kahoots quiz based on what you've seen, along with questions about tonight's topic. And yes, there are prizes to be won.
In 1838, Joseph Bruce and John Gleeson brought 18 Muslim Cameleers to South Australia. Recruited for their camel handling expertise, they became the first Muslims to set foot on this land. 2 years later, in 1840, the colony welcomed its very first camel, nicknamed Harry, at Port Adelaide. Together with the Afghan Cameleers, camels would prove the lifeline of the outback. By the 1860s, Afghan Cameleers had made Mari their home. The desert town was a vital stop on the long routes north. As their numbers grew, so did their need for a place of worship. In 1861, they built Australia's first mosque, a modest structure of mud and tin, yet a powerful sanctuary of prayer in the heart of the outback. Between 1870 and 1872, the overland telegraph line was built, stretching 3,200 kilometres from Adelaide to Darwin. Afghan Cameleers carried poles, wires and water across the desert, making this great link possible. In 1888, the Adelaide Mosque was established, with its 4 minarets added in 1903. It still stands today, the oldest permanent mosque in the country, a proud symbol of faith, resilience and belonging. Rival motor vehicles in the 1920s, the camel caravans that once sustained the outback began to fade. Their legacy lived on in the train that came to be known as the gun, named in their honour. 3 years later, on the 21st of April 1955, the Islamic Society of South Australia was officially incorporated, marking the birth of our first recognised organisation. By 1975, the growing Muslim community reached a new milestone with the Wayala Mosque, which still stands today, serving Muslims in the region. In early 1978, the Muslim community acquired the Park Home property, which would soon become the Mariam Mosque. In 1988, the Murray Bridge property was formally recorded. 3 years later, in 1991, it was acquired by the Islamic Society of South Australia, marking the establishment of the Murray Bridge Mosque. In 1993, as the community grew, attention turned to the education of the next generation. The community purchased a school in Wandana to establish the first Islamic mainstream school in South Australia, which was named the Islamic College of South Australia. The gymnasium initially served as a prayer space until the school courtyard was later transformed into what became the new mosque. The mosque was eventually built, and the Islamic College moved to West Croydon. The original school buildings in Wandana were then leased to Pinnacle College, where they continue to operate to this day. The old gymnasium was eventually demolished to make way for a car park. In 2010 marked the redevelopment of Mariam Mosque into a modern architectural facility. Just a year later, Wandana Mosque was reconstructed, offering expanded prayer spaces and facilities for the wider community. South Australia's first ever mosque open day came in 2012, welcoming thousands and promoting dialogue, respect and understanding. By 2013, the Saturday School had been rebranded as Al Salam Academy of Adelaide, shaping the identity of the next generation through Islamic and Arabic education. In 2015 brought the launch of the Al Salam Festival, a free, family-friendly event uniting thousands through entertainment, education and food. Two years later, the Al Salam Community Centre opened in Adelaide South, a landmark for social, cultural and spiritual activities. In 2019, a new place of worship was established in Mount Gambier, serving the region's Muslim community for the first time. That same year, the Ramadan Carnival was introduced, a joyful celebration of faith and community. 2021 saw the opening of the Al Salam Wandana Centre, strengthening services in Adelaide's northeast. The next year, land adjacent to Marion was secured, paving the way for future expansion. Also in 2022, the Al Salam Humanitarian Foundation was founded, serving local needs with zakat, sadaqah and vital welfare programs. By 2023, a Muslim burial section was established at Smithfield Memorial Park, alongside South Australia's first comprehensive Islamic funeral service. In 2024, Isa acquired a new mosque in Elizabeth, creating a much-needed spiritual home for the northern suburbs. Renovation and expansion works in 2025 will transform Elizabeth Mosque into a welcoming space for future generations. By 2026, the Al Salam Community Centre at Marion will be expanded, further enhancing one of the busiest hubs for our programs and activities. Looking ahead to 2028, ISA will build a new mosque at Smithfield, ensuring our community continues to grow, serve and thrive.
How good was that, mashallah? That was an informative and inspiring look into the history and legacy of the Islamic society. I would like to take this opportunity to thank a talented young man from Gaza, Mr. Yasser Abu Shaban, who was amongst those who arrived here just 1 year ago and has beautifully edited this documentary. Before we dive into the next part of our program, I'd like to pause for a moment to acknowledge and welcome more of our distinguished guests in the room. Ms. Rosalie Martin, SA State Director, Department of Human Affairs. Ms. Claire Marcoux, Community Liaison Officer, Department of Home Affairs. Assistant Commissioner Philip Newitt, South Australia Police. Australian Federal Police Representatives, Community Liaison Officer Keith Walter and Mr. Farid Jamil. Adelaide Youth Training Centre, Mr. Greg McDonald. Ms. Louisa Greco, Chair of the South Australian Multicultural and Ethnic Affairs Commission. And Mr. Michael Robertson, CEO, and Mr. Aaron Ramsher, General Manager of Adelaide Cemeteries Authority. And now, it is my pleasure to invite the one and only, the President of the Islamic Society of South Australia, Brother Ahmed Zareka, to deliver his opening speech.
ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace be upon you all. I begin by acknowledging the Ghana people as the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather, and I pay my respects to their elders, past and present. On behalf of the Islamic Society of South Australia, it is my great honor to welcome you to this historic occasion, the 70th anniversary of the Islamic Society. Tonight, we celebrate not only 7 decades since the founding of ISA, but also, as highlighted in the documentary, nearly 185 years since the first Muslim arrived in these states in 1840. The Society has long served as an umbrella uniting our diverse community, yet the history we honor tonight reaches far deeper. To those early Muslims whose courage and hard work helped build this young nation and shape its character. South Australia became the first home of Islam in this land, where the earliest footprints of our faith were laid. Muslims arrived here from every corner of the globe, from Afghanistan, Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, Bosnia, the Arab world, Africa, and Southeast Asia. They brought different languages and cultures, yet were united by two powerful founds, our Islamic faith and our Australian home. Tonight we honor their struggles, their sacrifices, and their remarkable achievements. But our journey has not been free from challenges. History has brought both blessings and trials.
Wait, I need to say something.
After September 11, our community faced rising Islamophobia, suspicion, and painful stereotypes. Internally, divisions of ethnicity and language weakened our organizations. Externally, fear and hostility isolated us further. Our mosques remained open, but too often became space only for obligatory prayers rather than hubs of engagement, learning, and connection. In 2008, when I began as an Arabic teacher at the Saturday school under ISA, it marked my first real commitment to the society. Alongside other educated members, we witnessed firsthand the deep lack of trust between the community and ISA. I will never forget asking about the organization archives. What I was handed was nothing more than this small book of accounts, with only income and expenses recorded in it. This was all that remained after 55 years of ISA existence. It was then that we made a group decision to work together and to reshape the role of the society. In 2010, a newly elected committee stepped forward with a vision to rebuild trust, empower our community, leave a legacy for our children, engage with South Australia, and challenge Islamophobia. The following year, after opening mosques at Marion and Wandana, we launched South Australia's very first mosque open day. More than 1,500 visitors walked through our doors. That day, hope returned. It was a proof that Australians wanted to engage with us, to learn, and to share. It was a turning point, an opportunity to shape ISA into something better, more open, and forward-looking. Alhamdulillah, by the grace of Allah and the determination of our people, ISA has been transformed in just over a decade. From a volunteer base, we now employ nearly 40 staff and contractors, including 3 imams. We serve through 6 mosques, 2 community centers, 5 language schools, 2 annual festivals, and countless programs including education, advocacy, humanitarian aid, social support, spiritual care, cemeteries and funerals, and inshallah there is still more to come. But let me be clear, none of this happened without you. Every mosque, every center, every event and service stand because of your support and your generosity. Yet I must also stress, money alone cannot take us where we need to go. Since 2008, I have seen with my own eyes the incredible talent within our community. Nearly 3,000 medical professionals, thousands of engineers, business leaders, academic and public servants, and half of our community's youth, the leaders of tomorrow. So tonight I say to our youth, our professionals and our community leaders, our community is growing and our challenges are growing. And more than ever, more than donations, we need your passion, we need your wisdom, your skills, your involvement, and your leadership to advance our mission in empowering the community. I call upon you to please step in, mentor, volunteer, guide, and lead. What we build today is the inheritance of tomorrow. Let us not leave behind only a green book. Let us leave a proud legacy of faith, of service, and of contribution. And so I turn now to our friends in government, the media, interfaith leadership, civil society, and the wider South Australian community. Our story is not just a Muslim story, it is an Australian story. Supporting Muslims is not an act of politics. It is an act of partnership. It is standing with fellow Australians who are helping to build this country we all share. And I must acknowledge of support from both state and federal governments in helping us reach where we are today. Even as we recognize the tensions and challenges that have sometimes arisen between the community and government. But tonight cannot pass without recognizing the pain of our time. The genocide in Gaza. The genocide in Gaza left our community heartbroken, and we have carried the weight of unimaginable loss. Yet our message remains rooted in universal values. We stand against the killing of civilians. We stand for dignity. We stand for justice. Make no mistake, being pro-Palestinian is not being anti-Australian. We are pro-Palestinian because we are pro-Australian. And we are pro-Australian because we are pro-humanitarian. And we will never accept the killing of innocents anywhere by anyone. That is why tonight matters. This anniversary is not just a celebration, it is a bridge. A bridge to break barriers, to reconnect, and to reaffirm our shared humanity. The Muslim community in South Australia has been here since 1840, and perhaps even earlier. From the very beginning, we have sought to contribute to this land, to build alongside our fellow Australians, and to be part of its unfolding story. As our beloved Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, the best of people are those who are most beneficial to others. So tonight we celebrate 70 years of ISA, I leave you with this message. Walk with us, support us, and let us continue to build together. Finally, we honor the pioneers who in 1955 laid the foundation of this society. May Allah have mercy on their souls and elevate their ranks. I extend my deepest thanks to our committees, past and present, for their wisdom, to our staff for their tireless dedication, to our imams for their guidance, to our volunteer and community for their unwavering support, and to our friends of ISA for working alongside us. To everyone gathered here tonight, thank you. May Allah bless you all.
Thank you, Brother Ahmed. We appreciate the photo of Brother Ahmed. It was quite a model. Those words were quite inspiring. I have to agree, the support of the community is needed in many ways beyond donations. But let's be honest, donations are definitely don't hurt. Keep them coming. Flyers can be found on your tables with QR codes for all our events. This evening is not only about the program on stage, but also about the remarkable people who are with us tonight. So before we continue, allow me to acknowledge and welcome a few more of our distinguished guests. Our beloved Imams, His Eminence Grand Mufti, Imam Riyad al-Rifai, Imam Amin Abu Samaha, Imam Abdullah Turk, Imam Ahmed Radib, Imam Ihab Barham, and all the way from Lebanon, Imam Faiz Saif. Haj Khalid Shaheen, respected community leader, Dr. Asim Al-Wali, Chairperson of Australians for Syria SA, Ms. Philippa Rowland, President of Multi-Faith Association of South Australia, Ms. Jenny Deister, President of Unitarian Church of South Australia, Mr. Robert Mays, Principal, Australian Islamic College, Mr. Omar Demirbaz, Principal of Pinnacle College Elizabeth Campus, Mr. Gothan Kod, Principal of Pinnacle College the Golden Grove Campus, and Mr. Mahmoud Kara Guman, General Manager, Pinnacle College Golden Groves. Over the years, Islamic Society has been more than just a place of prayer. It has become a hub. It has become a hub for religious, educational and humanitarian services. As a former executive member of the Islamic Society, it is my pleasure to share with you throughout the night a few words about some of the Society's services and events. I'll be spreading these out so we can enjoy them as the evening unfolds. Starting with As-Salam Humanitarian Foundation. Now, I won't mention when this was established, as this may come up in the cahoots later, so I hope you're paying attention. AHF is dedicated to providing relief and support, and hope to the vulnerable communities through humanitarian aid, education and community initiatives, uplifting lives both locally and abroad. I am proud to sit on the AHF board under the guidance of our chairman, Brother Ahmed Al-Sayyid. One of our core services is the collection and distribution of zakat, a pillar of Islam, and a powerful means of uplifting those in need. Through AHF, your zakat reaches vulnerable families, refugees, and communities facing poverty and displacement, delivered with transparency and impact. Your contribution is more than just charity. It is hope, dignity, and resilience. Please continue to support AHF. And remember, as a tax-deductible organisation, all donations above $2 are claimable. And now, for our keynote speaker, a true consistent advocate for justice in Palestine. And tonight he will share reflections on the role of our community in shaping a just society. It is my honour to welcome the Honourable Bob Carr, former Minister for Foreign Affairs, to the stage.
Islamic friends and friends of the community. It's a very great honour for me to be with you tonight, but my presence is overshadowed by the tragedy of Gaza, and it's that I must talk to you about, because what is happening in Gaza should galvanise us all to further action to see that Australia becomes a supporter and a protector of a wretched people facing nothing less than an active genocide. I cannot remember being more moved than in the last week when I heard an Australian doctor from a corridor of a hospital in Gaza describe what she was witnessing. She was talking to the ABC interviewer. She said in the corridor she had left a boy with an injury on his leg, and she said, I am dealing without anaesthetics, without sterilizer, without antibiotics, all gone. And she said, if I cannot have those, I may not be able to save this boy's leg. He might face an amputation. This war, conducted by Netanyahu and his bloodthirsty cabinet, is nothing less than a war against children, a war against childhood itself. I saw on the ABC's foreign correspondent during the week footage, again from a hospital in Gaza, of a little bundle of life, a baby born prematurely, kept alive in an incubator. The baby's limbs were fragile. There was a little bundle of life struggling to hang on to life. But as the cameras recorded this very moving scene, it recorded the fluctuations in the power supply that kept the incubator working to keep that little baby born prematurely alive. I just wondered what sort of official in the IDF or the Israeli government can make a decision about a power supply to Gaza knowing that it would deny life to a baby in an incubator. What sort of inhumanity is at work here with the Prime Minister of Israel, Netanyahu, saying as recently as yesterday, we will finish this, we will take this to the end. What is this? This is a rolling genocide. If you destroy 80% of a people's housing and say you will continue to demolish housing, if you say we're going to ration the supply of food so that, as we saw on Foreign Correspondent, a man with his son has to walk 45 minutes in 35-degree heat to get a little bowl of beans, not having eaten meat for months and not having access to other vegetables or to fruit, and to take this for 45 minutes in the heat back to his family. If you have medicines cut off, so apart from medicines required for war injuries, there are the regular medicines to deal with other human conditions. What is this? Denying medicine, denying food, wiping out housing. What is this, if not genocide? If not genocide, what word is there? What word can we find to describe what Israel is inflicting in Gaza? I welcome the fact that Australia's position has moved. I welcome the fact that we've moved with like-minded countries to make the decision about recognition. I said speaking in the last week, I said recognition is irrevocable. Recognition is a statement by Australia that there must be a Palestinian state side by side with Israel. But recognition is something else if you think about it. Recognition is a statement by a Western country, the Global South, having long recognised Palestine, But for France and for Britain and for us, recognition is a statement that the Palestinian people have an equal claim to be regarded as human beings with the respect and the dignity that all human beings should be able to come. Simple as that. The symbolism of us recognising Palestine is that we're saying to the Israelis, despite your shocking inhumanity, we uphold the right of Palestinians to be regarded as a people with all that goes with that, and not to face, above all, starting point, not to face the implementation of genocide. We've had splendid work done by a UN Commission on this question of genocide. Its report came out on the 16th of September, and it represents a legal analysis of the conduct of Israel in Gaza pursuant to the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. And it goes through all the legal tests that allow the world community to measure whether the behaviour of a nation amounts to genocide or not. And it's a long and it's a legalistic report. But by those tests, what Israel is doing in demolishing the housing, in limiting the food access to the lowest possible conceivable levels, in denying medicines, in cutting off electricity, in denying drinking water, amounts to genocide. It is an attempt by one state and one people to destroy another people. That's what genocide is, and that's what Israeli action amounts to. And I celebrate the fact that we have the first signs of the developed world recognising what is happening here. But it's got to go further. For example, we should be asking anyone seeking a visa to Australia from Israel whether they've committed war crimes. We should make that part of our law. We do it in other circumstances. If someone's seeking to come here with an Israeli passport, we should ask them whether they have ever committed war crimes, as we ask it of other people from conflict zones. We should make it absolutely clear that at a time when Israelis are talking about annexing the occupied West Bank, that we will not allow settlement products to enter the Australian market. At the very least, anything being produced in a settlement should have stated on the bottle, on the container, this was made in a settlement. All these settlements are entirely illegal under international law. That's international law. Israel's using the latest settlement expansion, E1, to end the prospect of a contiguous Palestinian state. And they're using consistent violence, systemic violence, against the suffering people of the occupied West Bank to force another Nakba, to force people out. If they leave as students, they're very likely not to be allowed to return. This is nothing less than a displacement of the occupied population of the West Bank. And we should continue to assert as a nation that occupation is wrong. It's the longest occupation in post-war history. It is entirely illegal, and it is accompanied by the settlement of the occupier's own population on land won in war, which breaches the International Convention, breaches the Geneva Protocols, which state clearly an occupying power cannot settle its own population on country won in war. We need to move with other countries, Canada, New Zealand, to see that Israel is isolated for its continued offence of the Convention on Genocide, the Geneva Protocols, and other instruments of international law. The great Mahatma Gandhi was once asked, what he thought of Western civilization. His reply was he thought it would be a good idea. That was his ironic twist. He thought Western civilization would be a good idea. What is happening in Gaza, my friends, is a test of whether Western civilization takes its own values seriously. That's what this is about. Do we, all institutions of the West, the political parties, the diplomatic networks, the churches in Western countries, the public intellectuals venting their opinions in the media, do they take the values of Western civilization seriously? If they do, they must unreservedly condemn Israel for its behaviour. Right now, as we talk here in peaceful, multicultural Adelaide, a beautiful city with a population of people from different parts of the world and different faiths who get on marvellously together, not least because of your effort, because of your character as a community being part of this. Right now, as we meet here for dinner to celebrate the 70th anniversary, there is a family of Palestinians in a street in Gaza City with all they can carry, all they're able to carry, and their home behind them is about to be demolished. Everything in it. Furniture that has been in the family maybe for generations. The textbooks of children who are driven by the ethos of Gaza, by the Palestinian character, to study, to become professionals, to do the best they can in life, who want to be doctors or engineers, academics, who want to have a positive life. Their textbooks are left behind. All their books are going to be blown sky high. Artifacts, photos, mementos of a life, clothes they can't take with them. And the family stands in the street at this moment, waiting for the bombs to demolish that apartment block with their home in it. And with all they can take in their arms, they're to commence a walk in what might be 40-degree heat. I'm wondering about two things. What happens to the aged grandparent in that situation? An old person with a disability. How do they survive hours of walking in the heat? And what is the trauma in the minds, planted forever, of a Palestinian child? Children are so sensitive, their antennas pick up everything around them. The tension in a family, a disagreement between a mother and father. How does a child with that extreme sensibility register that their house that they grew up in, the one house they can remember, is about to be blown sky high? That beloved possessions are going to be destroyed, and that they can see the weeping of their parents, the suffering of grandparents, as they commence a walk through heat into the unknown, talk of a tent city in the south, with sewage running through its streets, with the occupants having to search all night for drinking water, and have to walk hours and queue perhaps for food, and the medicines the old people need not being available. This is happening as we gather here tonight. And they're crimes of an ethno-nationalist government in Israel being deliberately committed. And people ask, what is the end point? I'm saying we can only believe that Israel's ethno-nationalists have one goal, and that is a Nakba applied to Gaza. That is 2.5 million people with their homes demolished and levelled by bulldozers, no prospect of a rebuild or a return, being told your future is in a tent city in the south, and contemplate the fact that we are talking about relocating you, evacuating you to failed states around the world that can be bribed to take you, Somalia or Libya. Now this is a frightful demonstration of inhumanity, and we as Australians owe it to our humanity, our sense it. I am ashamed at this point to be a member of the human species that is allowing these crimes to be committed. And I'm ashamed that there's so little attention, not only in Australia but in the Western world, to the horror of a genocide happening on our watch. There are no urgent plans to get an army of intervention to go in there and force the Israelis to end this deliberate destruction of everything in sight. To see that from the north to the south, this area is leveled. The homes are not only bombed, destroyed, but the sites are flattened. And the minister in charge, Smotrich, says, this is great news. This is the first start of a great property construction. Now this is shameful. I said in a tweet that a comment like that only feeds the very anti-Semitism that Jewish leadership and Israeli leadership says worries it, occupies it, concerns it. I think your community has got to say, we are going to force the government of Australia and through Canberra, the government of the Western, governments of the Western world, to elevate this, So in UN discussions, it's the top issue on the agenda. So the suffering of Palestinians in Gaza is acknowledged everywhere. So that even in America, where public opinion is shifting very quickly against Israel because of its criminal behaviour, there will be some sense of restraint. I saw that Donald Trump, in the last 48 hours, said that even he objected to an annexation of the West Bank. But I rather fear that the ethno-nationalists running Israeli policy do not even care about that, because they know if they do it, there won't be effective action from America at this time to penalise them, for example, by cutting off their supply of weapons. So this is the crisis before us, my friends. I'd like to make one very modest suggestion. I think this community, the Islamic community in Australia, so deserving of respect, having so many wonderful stories, refugee stories, stories of success in Australia, youngsters who come here with their families, with their parents, who've done so well at school, are making a contribution to our society, that this great Islamic community is entitled to lobby politicians the way they're entitled to do it, the Jewish community has over the decades. I make this offer. I will sit down with leaders of the community and help them plan and organise a rolling lobbying of our members of parliament. Any federal member of parliament in Australia, in every state and territory, should receive a request to meet a delegation of 20 Arab background Australians, 20 people of Palestinian heritage, in their office, in the MP's office, to hear a discussion about the apartheid laws that apply on the West Bank, the spread of settlements designed to bury a Palestinian state, above all, the war crimes that amount to a genocide in Gaza. This community has got to become as well organised, as disciplined, as systemic about its lobbying, about its approaches to politicians, as the Jewish community has been for decades. I've witnessed it, and I said to one group of youngsters from Arabic backgrounds, and I was training them in this. I was doing a workshop where I played the part of a member of parliament who might be hostile to Palestine and its aspirations. And I said, the strongest thing you've got in putting your case are the stories you can tell. You can tell your story of how in 1948 your family lost its home, lost its orchard in Palestine. And you can tell the story about living in a refugee camp, about the battle to get immigration to Australia. These are powerful stories. They're as powerful as the stories that the Jewish community are respected and sustained in Australia after the Second World War were able to tell about surviving the Holocaust. You can tell what settlements mean as they grow on rocky outcrops on the West Bank and take the water that once flowed to Palestinian farms, and the violence inflicted on Palestinians when, in part of Palestine that you may know, I'm saying this to the young people, there were extremist Israelis who came down and ripped out the olive trees, all designed to press Palestinians to evacuate their family lands. These are powerful stories. I want to see these stories told to decision makers in Australia according to a systemic program that mobilises the numbers we have to go and see members of Parliament. You need a coordinator for each electorate to mobilise the lobbying. You need to get, as I said, about 20, and including the young people in particular. And they need to go in with an agenda. Mr. or Madam Member of Parliament, we're here to talk about Israeli settlement expansion, 1, 2, about the apartheid laws that apply on the West Bank, but first and above everything else, the suffering of the people of Gaza, and we want you to become a champion and a defender and shift Australian government policy further. That's what we need. And you've got the strength. You've got 1 million people of Arabic background in Australia, and they've got to become as professional in pressing their case as the other side. And it can happen. Because the stories are so strong. The people we've got here who are refugees from Gaza, who've been here for a year, who I hope to meet before the evening's over, as they become Australian citizens, they're entitled to see their Member of Parliament and say, this is my story. We value, if they're talking to a Labor Member of Parliament or a Green, they can say, we value the things you've done so far. There's been big progress, and we see you being attacked by the Jewish community, the Israel lobby every day of the week, but now we want you to go further. Appreciate what you've done, but now we're here to see that you go further. And I volunteer my time to do workshops with members of this community and to convey to me as an experienced convey to them, me as an experienced former politician, how they can better press their case. I'll conclude with this thought. The suffering of those Palestinian children makes me question the humanity of anyone in the government in Israel who can say we can live with a baby in an incubator dying because there's no electricity, or a Palestinian boy with a wound in his leg or an injury having to be amputated because we haven't made the sanitisers and the antibiotics available. I mean, this is criminality that beggars comparison, and I've said this on tweets, beggars comparison with the Warsaw Ghetto and other things that happened in the Second World War. Let's think tonight of this very positive celebration of 70 years of maturity of a community that is now so respected in this multicultural Australia that we value and that we love. Let us see that along with this celebration, we're reminding Australia and the world of the suffering in Gaza today. Thank you.
On behalf of the Islamic Society of South Australia, I extend our gratitude to Mr. Carr for his thoughtful and powerful words. I kindly ask Mr. Carr to remain on the stage, and I now call upon Brother Ahmed to join us in presenting this award of recognition to the Honourable Mr. Bokar. This award is in recognition of your unwavering advocacy for the rights of the Palestinian people, dedication to humanitarian principles, and your commitments to justice and peace. We honour your courage and integrity in standing for what you believe. It has now been 2 years since the escalation in Gaza, where famine is spreading, hospitals are collapsing, and medicines are running out. Yet the sumud of the Palestinian people continues to inspire the world. That is why the Islamic Society of South Australia is honoured to partner with Palestinian, Australian, New Zealand Medical Association for the National Gaza Tour, Struggle and Sumud 2 years on. Together we aim to raise funds for urgent medical aid and hope for those who need it the most. Highlights include hearing from doctors who have served in Gaza, the exclusive 2 years on documentary, stories of resilience, and fundraising for 20 medical missions. We invite you to join us on Friday the 17th of October for a night of solidarity and actions. Flyers are on your table, and if you'd like to volunteer, please contact the Islamic Society of South Australia. Moments like these are a wonderful opportunity to reflect on the calibre of people gathered here tonight. Allow me now to acknowledge and welcome more of our distinguished guests in attendance. Representatives of the Australian Friends of Palestine Association, Ms. Krista Christaki, Chairperson, and Mr. Mike Khizam, Professor Talal Yassin, Founder and Managing Director of the Salam Group of Companies, Ms. Adriana Kretopoulos, Former Chairperson of SAMIAC, Mr. Brad Chilcott, Founder and Director of Welcoming Australia, Ms. Maimouna Rafiq and Ms. Saima Farheen of RASA, Mr. Chris Chalubek, CEO, and Ms. Samira Jularatia, Deputy CEO of ARA, Sister Ina of the Morolla Community Centre, Ms. Gina Notley, CEO of Treasure Box, Ms. Marissa Bunjaku, CEO of AMRC, representatives of the Healthcare Workers for Palestine, Ms. Shakti Sophia Hronopoulos and Ms. Sausan Zadi, Mr. Mohammed Khafaji, Head of Strategic Partnerships, SBS, Brother Ali Qadir, State Manager of Human Appeal Australia, representatives of the Pakistani Medical Association South Australia, and representatives of Australian Islamic Medical Association. Our next guest speaker is someone very familiar to our beloved community. Professor Muhammad Abdullah is the Director of the Centre of Islamic Thought and Education. And since arriving in South Australia in 2014, Professor Abdullah has been deeply engaged with the history of Muslims in this state and actively involved in the activities of the Islamic Society. Please join me in welcoming Professor Muhammad Abdullah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. In the name of Allah, the most compassionate and the most merciful, I greet you with the beautiful Islamic greeting of Assalamu alaikum, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon you all. Distinguished guests, brothers and sisters, I am honored to be standing here before you tonight to say a few words. And of course, what is there to say after the Honorable Bokar said it all, particularly about the plight of the Palestinian people and the genocide, the act of genocide that is taking place in Gaza as we speak. The Islamic Society of South Australia, as you have seen, has served the community for the last 70 years. And their history is quite remarkable because, for me, it's a continuation of the history of Muslims in Australia. As you have heard, the Cameliers, the Afghan Cameliers came and did the marvelous job that they have done to try to connect the interior of Australia. And they built the first mosque in Mari and then, of course, the Adelaide Mosque. And the Islamic Society of South Australia is nothing but a continuation of that legacy. But of course, as you all know, Muslims came to Australia before the Afghan Cameliers. They came in the 1650s, in fact, when the Macassars from Indonesia came to Australia, and they used to trade with the first peoples of this nation, the Aboriginal people, especially in Arnhem Land. And so one could easily say and state a fact that Muslim presence in Australia predates white settlement by at least 200 years. And the interesting thing, of course, is that the relationship and the engagement of the Macassars who came in the 1650s with the Aboriginal people, the first peoples of this nation, And also the engagement and the relationship the Afghan Cavalliers had with the Australian people is no different to the relationship and the engagement the Islamic Society of South Australia has had with also the society and the community. And all of them came with one intent, and they serve that beautifully, and that is to serve communities and to build relations with people, not to destroy those relations. And it is for this reason, if you study the history of the Macassars, you see that the Aboriginal people of Arnhem Land, until today, they speak highly of the positive relationship of the Macassar Muslims who came. And one interesting fact is that the relationship was quite positive and humane, because the Macassars came to Australia not as settler colonialists. They did not come to steal land, but they came to engage with people like people. And that led to a fruitful, positive relationship that until today is spoken about. And I think this is a very important point to underline. And that is, what is the intent? What is the ultimate purpose of our institutions? What is the ultimate purpose of an Islamic Society of South Australia? What is the ultimate purpose of our political institutions? What is the ultimate intent of our educational institutions? If it is not to make humans humans again and to connect humanity together, then what is the value in any of those institutions? What we do in terms of politics or the service of the community should be seen as instrumental aims that should lead us to an ultimate aim. And that ultimate aim is to bring humanity together. And if you see the work of Islamic Society of Australia, if I was to focus on one thing only, and that is, I feel that is what we exactly were trying to do for the last 70 years. How to bring humans together. And we are humans, we're all the same, despite our differences. The underlying factor is that we are humans. And if we focus on that, we will get somewhere. And so the activities of the Islamic Society of South Australia was precisely to bring people together through their education, through their festivals, through their most activities, and those people, be the Muslim community itself or the wider community. Because that is the essence. And if we fail in that essence, we fail in our responsibilities, and we fail as humans. And dare I say, the Western civilization failed. We don't have to wait for the test to see if they failed Gaza. They failed Gaza. Just like they failed Iraq in 2003. And just like they failed Syria. And the reason is, one of the most important reasons that we should all try to avoid in our own personal lives, is that when you begin to see the other human as the other, and you think you are better than them, and you have a supremacist mindset that allows you to colonize and subjugate and steal and destroy and commit acts of genocide openly, because humanity has been lost in these people. And when humanity is lost, you can commit any act and nobody will stop you. This is the very essence of dehumanization. And so all of our efforts as the Islamic Society of South Australia, all of our efforts, whatever institution it is, at the core of our activities, it should be how not to dehumanize people. Because the minute we dehumanize them, you allow for yourself all acts of atrocities and genocide and massacres, just like we see in Gaza today. One of the most important things for me in as far as the Islamic Society of South Australia was their moral stance, which is very important for any human being to decide at some point in their life to take a moral stance and to have a moral backbone and to say enough is enough. And that's exactly what the Islamic Society did in the manifestation of its president, Brother Ahmed Zariqa, our dear friend Ahmed Zariqa, when Gaza started, the Gaza genocide started, and we were failed by our politicians, except some like in the Green Party who came to our aid. But the truth be said, we were failed by all other major parties. And we were treated, I would dare I say, less than human. And we became absolutely of no value in their eyes. And that is why when Brother Ahmed Zraika, with of course the consent of his society, decided to pull out from certain engagements with state government because they failed us. And more importantly, they failed the people of Gaza who are undergoing genocide. The story of the Makassar Muslims and the story of the Afghan Cameliers and the story of Islamic Society of Australia also tells us about a bigger story, and that is the story of humanity. And precisely the story of the Islamic civilization and the European civilization. For many a times in the West today, especially in history, when we teach history, we like to completely ignore the Islamic civilization. And that leads to dehumanization, by the way. We like to ignore the fact that had it not been for the Islamic civilization, Europe would not be where it is today. If you don't believe me, go and read the book by David Lewis, Islam and the Making of Europe, one of America's greatest historians. These realities need to be acknowledged in order for our humanity to grow. The Greeks would not have become what they did in terms of their civilization without the Egyptians. And the Islamic civilization would not have emerged as a supreme civilization in terms of science and technology and philosophy had it not been for the Greeks. And the European Western civilization would not have become what it is today had it not been for the Islamic civilization. This is a story of interconnectedness. As the story of the Islamic Society of Australia, it's a story of interconnectedness. It is not a story of isolation. It is not a story of segregation. It is not a story of prejudice and racism. It is a story of interconnectedness. And unless we begin to recognize our interconnectedness as human beings, we will continue to dehumanize one another. And as you dehumanize the other, you justify for yourself doing the most immoral acts, as we are witnessing today in Gaza. There is one verse in the Quran that beautifully sums up all of this, where it says, يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسِ إِنَّا خَلَقْنَاكُم مِّن ذَكَرٍ وَأُنثَىٰ وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا إِنَّ أَكْرَمَكُمْ عِندَ اللَّهِ أَتْقَاكُمْ. This verse is so beautifully captures the essence of humanity. Where it says, Allah says, God says in the Quran, the meaning of the verse, Ya ayyuhan nas, all people. The interesting thing is the beginning of this verse is addressing all people. Though it is the Quran, Islam's holiest book, but the address here by God is to everybody. Not Muslims only, Ya ayyuhan nas. And the Quran is distinct in this regard, for sometimes it addresses Ya ayyuhal ladina amanu, all believers. But in this instance, it says, Ya ayyuhan nas, all people. So that the address is to you, and to me, and to everybody. We have created you from male and female, Adam and Eve. And then made you into nations and tribes. An obvious fact. But here is the point of the verse. And the ultimate purpose for this difference. And the beauty behind these differences, the difference between our ethnicities and languages and colors and so forth. And we have made you into nations and tribes, meaning you're all different, and so it should be. But the purpose is لِتَعَارَفُوا, so that you may get to know each other, not to kill each other, not to fight each other because of difference. And this is what I feel what symbolizes the Islamic Society of South Australia. The spirit and the desire to bring people together. And I've seen that over the last 9 years. It says in that, so لِتَعَارَفُوا, it's a double emphasis in this verse, so that you make the active effort, so that you go out of your way to learn and to know the other. Because once you know and you learn about the other with humility, you may perchance stop dehumanizing them. And then the verse ends by saying, Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. The most noble of you in the sight of God who created you is not the white, and is not the non-white, it's not the Arab, and not the non-Arab. This is the most noble of you in the sight of God are those who are most righteous. It has nothing to do with gender, it has nothing to do with race, and it has nothing to do with ethnicity. But it has to do with something in your heart. It has to do with action. And if, as the Honorable Bokar said, if people don't have a heart and allow a baby in an incubator to die, then that is indeed shameful. That is absolutely shameful. And it is shameful that the Australian government, all they could do so far, after 2 years of genocide, we had to wait for a statement that they recognize Palestine. Well done, we accept it. That's a positive sign, but that is not enough. And it is rather too late. More needs to be done immediately. If there is genuine intent behind such a statement, then more needs to be done immediately. And we all know that. Absolutely. More needs to be done. Immediate sanctions, immediate boycott, as we have heard so far. Otherwise, it will be lip service, and the cycle continues. My friends, this is a night where we congratulate the Islamic Society of South Australia for their tremendous efforts and work. My dear brother and friend, Brother Ahmed Zraiqa, and your committee, wonderful committee, all of you, Jazakumullah khaira. Yes, thank you very much. May you continue to prosper, may you continue to do great works, and may you continue to bring people together, and may you continue to bring humanity together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Muhammad Abdullah, for your insightful contribution. SubhanAllah, I can genuinely say that there is not a dull moment with you or a dull speech. Always engaging, captivating and informative. MashaAllah and Jazakallah khair. We've had a few rounds of acknowledgements tonight, and this will be the final one. And it's only fitting that we finish strong, so let us extend our warm welcome to these last distinguished guests who come to us in the form of respected associations. Arts of Afia, AUTWA, Amana Institute, Lebanese Muslim Association of South Australia, the Muslim Women's Association of South Australia, Islamic Society at the University of South Australia, Muslim Australian Connections of South Australia, Adelaide Malay Association Incorporated, Adelaide Pakistanis Multicultural Group, Adelaide Sisters Association, MIIAS, the Indonesian Islamic Society of South Australia, Sri Lanka Muslim Association of South Australia, Al-Huda Australia, and finally, we warmly welcome and acknowledge all the distinguished leaders of our Afghani, African, Bosnian, East Turkestani, Bangladeshi, and wider Muslim communities, along with their friends who are with us tonight. This year marks a special milestone. It is also the 10-year anniversary of the Al Salam Festival. Back in 2015, under the guidance of the Islamic Society's president, a group of youth volunteers, myself included, I can't call myself a volunteer anymore, or a youth, but we created this event to build bridges between Muslims and non-Muslim communities. The name As-Salam, meaning peace, was chosen at a time when Muslims were unfairly stereotyped, and the festival quickly became a symbol of unity and was warmly embraced. After a pause during COVID, the festival is back and it's bigger and better than ever. I sincerely thank this year's organisers for their incredible effort. Sitting at table 8, you'll find them eager to connect about sponsorship opportunities. And flyers for this can be found at your table. And finally, this is a personal invitation from me to every single one of you. Please join us at the Al Salam Festival on the 29th of November 2025. Mark your calendars, you don't want to miss it. Speaking of Salam, our next distinguished Our next guest speaker is Professor Talal Yassin. He is the founder and managing director of the Salam Group of Companies. It is a pioneering organisation redefining Islamic superannuation, Islamic finance and age and disability care in Australia. We would also like to sincerely thank Professor Talal for helping us secure our keynote speaker tonight, the Honourable Bob Carr. And we also extend our gratitude to Salam for sponsoring this event as well as our upcoming Salam Festival event. Please welcome with me Professor Talal Yassin.
Wow, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, a bit more energy in the room, please. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to start by saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We've done that. I'd like to acknowledge the Ghana people, their leaders, present, elders and past, and of course emerging for the land on which we stand, for which has been unceded. I have a long speech here today, ladies and gentlemen, that I was very much prepared to deliver with gusto and, passion. But how do you keep up with a speaker like Ahmed Zreika, Bob Carr, or Professor Muhammad Abdullah? The amazing things that they have done. So I'm going to talk about three things tonight. I'm going to talk about the story of Talal Yassin. I'm going to talk about Isa, and I'm going to talk about Salam. Salam meaning peace. So, given the elephant in the room, what's the genocide, the once in a lifetime genocide? October the 7th did things to us and me that this 11th of September did not. For some reason it's much worse. It penetrated Australia to an extent that is just unbelievable. Whole of governments, local, state and federal, seem immune to the cries of children. Governments around the world, senior leaders, ministers, the most left-wing Prime Minister in Australia ever, Anthony Albanese, the man I met whose main issue in life, since I met him 30 years ago, has been the Palestinian issue, has only now, after 2 years of genocide, been able to say, I acknowledge on behalf of the Australian people the state of Palestine. Good that may be, but it's only symbolic. We've done nothing else. And for me, as an Australian, a proud Australian nationalist, a proud Australian Muslim of Lebanese heritage, my three identities have been challenged. And I'm sure you can resonate in some sense. My three identities are really simple. I'm Muslim, I'm Australian, and I'm a social democrat. But the unfortunate thing is that all three are being challenged at once. Ayyuhal Muslimin, where are you, Muslims of the world? As children get gunned down. Where are the Muslim states, the Arab states? Where are you? Where are the armies? Where are the Khalifs? Where are the Amirs? Number one. Number two, Australia, the best country in the world, the longest serving democracy in the world, the most beautiful place in the world. Where are you as a state? The founders of the United Nations, the movers of all human rights legislation that I've ever studied. If anybody knows anything about human rights in Australia, and I consider myself a human rights lawyer, Australians serve at the heart of every movement that ever was that you could study. Where are we? Where are we? And social democrats, i.e. Labour Party, Democratic parties. Where are you? We have Labour governments around this country. We have the two most left-wing Prime Minister and Foreign Minister in the history of Labour, in the history of Australia, since Gough Whitlam. And still, there is no progress. There's no real answer to what is going on. Being symbolic is not enough. And I stand here with the pain and the feeling and the depths of how could this be? How can I watch, and I'm coming up here, more videos from Gaza. And we're coming to a wonderful dinner tonight. We'll get to that. But these are the things that challenge us, and these are the things that challenge me, and I hope I'm sharing this with you because I'm sure you can resonate. Moving on to more happier topics. So for Ahmed, I'd like to leave a blue book, just not just a green book. Hopefully the blue book has a little bit more in it as a funder of and a sponsor of tonight. But I would like to say, whilst there's an elephant in the room, and we all feel very deeply about it, the Islamic Association of South Australia turns 70. 70 is not just a number. It is many, 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 many years of different people and personalities at those quiet moments on the Fridays and the Saturdays and the Sundays, teaching Arabic where Ahmed started, right through to having Al-Salam. I love the name Al-Salam, by the way. It's the name of the company I know quite well. Al-Salam festivals, to training and educating future leadership of this country and contributing to the social fabric of South Australia. I'd like to congratulate the South Australian Islamic Society of South Australia and give them a round of applause for the great work that they've done. It might be not so well known that I'm from Sydney. I don't have the pleasure of being from Adelaide, or South Australia for that matter. But I do have the pleasure of travelling the country, visiting Islamic institutions and associations and organisations and imams and talking to Islamic schools. South Australia is somewhere special. It is well organised. It is not a rebel. Tonight is proof of the professionalism, the august and empathetic leadership, and the historic build-up of all that is good to bring people together, as the great Sheikh was telling us today. And I really and sincerely congratulate you on the great work that you have done, to Ahmed and his committee, and all past committees that have contributed to such a wonderful and august institution, contributing to the social fabric of Australia. A round of applause for the Islamic Society of Australia. Thank you very much. The final thing, ignoring my speech entirely, that I'd like to talk about is the Salam Group. Salam Group, for those who don't know, is a group that was founded and exists to serve and empower the Australian Muslim community and contribute to the social fabric of Australia. I'll repeat that again. The Salam Group exists to empower and serve the Australian Muslim community and contribute to the social fabric of Australia. We do many things, but one of them is Islamic superannuation. So how is that all connected to what we're talking about? Well, let me tell you, the first thing that's connected is that we don't invest in weapons. Many years ago I used to preach this. Investing in weapons is bad. Islam prohibits that, forbids that. Do not invest in things that kill human beings. Do not invest in things that harm humanity. But today, everybody understands that, Muslims are included. And Salam Group, and we're here tonight, we have Sabreen, Mariam and Saif. We have never ever invested in weapons or anything that supports the killing of humanity. Whether they're from Gaza, Sudan, America, or anywhere around the country, it doesn't matter what your religion is. A bomb is a bomb. A bomb does not distinguish between a Muslim, a Christian and a Jew. A bomb doesn't distinguish between children, adults, and older and younger people. Women, pregnant women, older, that doesn't distinguish. And Salam Group has never done that. And we encourage you, if that is of interest, to come and talk to us. Because together, when we act as a human, when we're human-centered, and one of the things is not to invest in things that kill other people, because then unfortunately, it's a little known secret, that killing people makes a lot of money. That's the unfortunate truth. And Australia participates in it. Australia has a defence industry. It's actually a war industry, but we call it a defence industry. And it's one of the major areas which we invest in. Without being political about it, all sides do it. and this is causing harm around the world. So that's the final thing I want to talk about. I want to congratulate everybody today. I want to congratulate Ahmed. I want to thank you all for listening so intently, and I want to apologise to my speechwriter for ignoring the speech entirely. Don't worry.
Thank you, Professor Talal, for your help and assistance, and we wish you all the very best. We'd also like to encourage everyone here to follow in his footsteps and consider sponsoring our upcoming events. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for dinner, so please enjoy the meal, take the opportunity to network and connect with old friends and you. Desserts will be served at 9. Sahten.
That's what I was trying to do. Yeah. They're all fine. They're different ones. No, not completely. People are still enjoying dinner and all that stuff. find out. We'll find out.
please take your seats again so we can commence with our night. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. We'll commence networking at the end of the night. Jazakumullah khair. Welcome back, everyone. The Islamic Society of South Australia awards outstanding achievements at each of their AGMs for those who assist and dedicate their time to the community. We will take this opportunity to honour outstanding contributions in front of you all. May I kindly ask our President, Brother Ahmed Zareka, to the stage to introduce the awards.
I won't be long as well, I will be very quick. Alhamdulillah, we have for this year 4 awardees people, and I would like to start with the first one. The first award, our first award tonight is presented to AFOPA, Australian Friends of Palestinian Association. For many years, and especially in the past 2, AFOPA has been the forefront of advocating for Palestine. What distinguishes them is the professionalism, respect, and dignity with which they have carried this cause. It was because of this approach that ISA signed a memorandum of understanding with AFOPA. Since then, our joint work has served as a role model for advocacy done with unity and integrity. AFOPA has consistently brought people together under one umbrella, always listening, consulting, and sacrificing their time while applying wisdom and strategy. Thanks to this spirit, South Australia and Adelaide in particular has become known for peaceful and respectful rallies that inspire others across the country. On behalf of the Islamic Society of South Australia, we thank AFOPA for their partnership. We look forward to continuing the journey together. I would now like to invite the Honourable Bob Carr to the stage to present this award to the AFOPA chairperson, Ms. Krista Kristaki.
Thank you, Ahmed and Issa, for this honour. It really means a great deal to us. And to receive it from Bob Carr, it is an absolute double honour. Thank you very much. Thank you to all the wonderful people at Issa for your support, friendship and cooperation. It's a very special relationship which we value and treasure. AFOPA has been advocating for self-determination and justice for Palestinians in their homeland, Palestine, for 21 years. Well before October the 7th, where some people believe this issue started. The last 2 years have been critical in this struggle as Palestinians, as our previous speakers have told us, experience genocide in Gaza and the prospect of partial or complete annexation in the occupied West Bank. While many of our leaders, too many, refuse to say the word genocide, refuse to hold Israel accountable for breach after breach of international law, for war crimes and crimes against humanity, and refuse to go beyond words to meaningful action in the form of sanctions against the apartheid state, I give you my word that AFOPA will work harder than ever for the liberation of the Palestinian people from occupation, genocide and apartheid. I know that our trusted partner, a partner who we respect enormously in the Islamic Society of South Australia, will be alongside us and us with them as always. An announcement, AFOPA has been holding Palestine Solidarity rallies for 2 years now, mostly every fortnight, sometimes every month. Our next rally is tomorrow, Sunday at 2 o'clock as usual at Parliament House steps. And then again on the 12th of October we have a national rally. We would love to see you all at both rallies. I can tell you that the national rally about a month ago with about 10,000 people restored my faith in South Australians and in Australians. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Krista, and congratulations once again to AFOPA. Our next award is presented to Imam Abdul Salam Ali. Imam Abdul Salam is not only our Imam, but also a leader, a mentor, and at times even a committee member and the president of Islamic Society as well. Since 1999, his service at Masjid Abu Bakr Siddiq Wandana has been unwavering. He is in fact the oldest active member still serving Islamic Society today. Imam, your wisdom, kindness, and dedication have built a legacy of unity and faith. On behalf of the entire community, it is our honor to present this award to you with deep gratitude. Unfortunately, Imam Abdul Salam could not be with us tonight as he is in Turkey, attending an important international gathering in support of the East Turkestani community, a cause for which he is a passionate advocate. He has sent his sincere apologies for not being here. May Allah ease the suffering of our East Turkestani brothers and sisters and all oppressed people around the world. To share his thanks and reflection on this special anniversary, Imam Abdul Salam has sent us a message.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. First and foremost, we thank Allah and praise Him. And we sincerely thank Allah for His blessings. First of all, I would like to sincerely apologize for not being able to attend this historic event of the 70th anniversary of Islamic Society of Australia in person. However, I would like to share my feelings through this short clip. I'm right now in Istanbul, right in front of the Fatih Mosque. So, first of all, I would like to congratulate the Islamic Society for organizing this event to bring the community together once again and reflecting back on the achievements of the Muslims of Australia. Especially Muslims have great place in Australian history, starting from the Cameleys, and the ongoing community and generations up to now. Secondly, we have to just reflect and pause, thinking about the achievements of the Islamic Society of Australia throughout the 70 years and how Islamic Society of Australia was the beacon of faith service for the Muslim community, nurturing the community, making them live in this harmonious society and creating peace between the Muslim community and the wider community. So I would like to also congratulate and make dua, pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless and reward every single person who took part in establishing, founding this society and working in society throughout the 70 years. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to strengthen the feet of the current committee to work further and continue this legacy. And we all know, and every one of you know and witness that, alhamdulillah, Islamic Society has done a great deal of work, service, establishing masajid, schools, and community centers, etc. Alhamdulillah, it is the blessing of Allah, and we thank Allah at the beginning, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the end, and I will hope and pray that inshallah you have a great evening together as one. Part of Islamic Society for many years, served as the Vice President as well, and he was the ex-president of the Eastern Islamic Australia Association to speak and congratulate as well. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear board members of the Islamic Society of South Australia, members and contributors to the society for the last 70 years. Today we are celebrating the 70 years of success, 70 years of passion, 70 years of commitment, and 70 years of unity. And we are here standing in the heart of the Episcopal Prosper Sultan Muhammad Party. So this is also giving a signal that we will be able to achieve more glorious success with unity, togetherness, and hard work together. Congratulations, and thank you so much.
So on his behalf, I would now like to invite the Honorable Zoe Peterson, Minister for Multicultural Affairs, to present this award to his daughter, Sister Nastura Adam. Thank you, Minister. Thank you, Sister Nastura, and congratulations. We now salam. Our next award is presented to Dr. Walid Al-Khazmi. Dr. Walid has served Islamic Society as both President and Treasurer, and what makes him unique is that even after stepping down as President, he continued to serve Islamic Society with genuine support. That kind of humility and loyalty is rare. I must say, in our committee meetings, Dr. Walid often challenged my opinions. He gave me a hard time in debates, and sometimes those discussions went very far. But what I admire most is that he always respected the process. He accepted the majority decision even if it wasn't what he personally wanted. And after those intense debates, he would still invite me for lunch or coffee, providing his sincerity and friendship. Today, Dr. Walid is in Gaza, serving bravely as a doctor on humanitarian mission. We pray for his safety, for his safe return to his small family here in South Australia, and to his big family, the Muslim community and the Islamic Society of South Australia. May Allah reward you, Dr. Walid, for everything you have done and continue to do. Dr. Walid has also sent us a heartfelt message from Gaza, sharing both the reality of the situation there and his congratulations to Islamic Society on this 70th anniversary.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother Ahmed Zuraitna, the President of the Islamic Society of South Australia, Brother Annan Bajamia, the Vice President of the Islamic Society of South Australia, Sister Fahim, Secretary of the Islamic Society of South Australia, brothers and sisters in the Executive Committee of the Management of the Islamic Society of South Australia, respected Imams, Mr. Bob Carr, our special guest for tonight, ministers and dignitaries attending this anniversary. Welcome all to the 70th anniversary of the Islamic Society of South Australia. I'm sorry that I can't be with you tonight because I have to respond as a Muslim Australian to the humanitarian need of the Palestinians, especially in Gaza, to be with them and help them. Let me share with you some feelings. Since my departure of Australia, my shoes are heavy because they're not carrying my feet only. They're carrying the feet of the billions of people who want to walk my journey to show the solidarity for the Palestinians. My heart is heavy because it has the billions of hearts of people from around the globe beating in love, compassion, and hope for the Palestinians. This is what I came with for the Palestinians. In contrast, the governments around the globe are supporting and providing the means of for the IOF to continue the genocide. The Palestinians here wanted me to send a message to you. They said, please don't forget us. We don't deserve it. Please stop the killing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all. I hope you enjoy the celebration. And briefly, Palestine. Assalamu alaikum.
It's now my privilege to invite Senator Sarah Hussein to the stage to present this award to Doctors Walid's two beautiful daughters, Sarah and Aisha, who have always been great supporters of the Islamic Society. Sarah and Aisha. Thank you, Senator Sarah Hansen-Young, and thank you, Sarah and Aisha. Congratulations to Dr. Walid again. Our final award this evening goes to Brother Adnan Abu Ajami. He's with us here, he's not overseas. For nearly 20 years, Brother Adnan has served the Islamic Society in key leadership roles, including executive member, secretary, and vice president. Alongside Dr. Walid, he has been a steadfast presence, and to this day, he continues to dedicate his time, wisdom, and energy in voluntary service to our community. Adnan is the one who first introduced me to the society. May Allah forgive you, Brother Adnan. He is known for his punctuality, his details, and his insistence on studying every project from all angles. His vast experience within the Islamic Society has always been a safeguard, ensuring that our decisions are well considered and well protected. Brother Adnan, your dedication, loyalty, and service reflect the true spirit of community. You represent the best of what it means to lead with sincerity and love for your people. Earlier, Brother Adnan recorded a short message for us as a part of the anniversary celebration without knowing that he would also be receiving this award tomorrow. Let's watch this award together.
I think Islamic Society is a blessing to the community. That's, if I want to put it in one word, it's an amazing blessing. I would like the younger and the new generation to support ISA and be, passionate about Islamic work and engage and get involved in the Islamic work in the mosque and in the center, and maybe join ISA as executive members, because we need the younger generation. We need younger blood, and our current members can't stay forever, so the idea is we want them involved, we want new ideas and new blood.
It's now my honor to invite the Honorable Luis Milafros, MP, to the stage to present this award to Brother Adnan Abashir. He always would love to say something.
First of all, thank you all for coming to the 70th anniversary. This is a surprise to me, and I think generally as Muslim and brothers know that we do this work not waiting for reward in this life, and we hope that the reward is from Allah in the hereafter. Thank you, Ahmed. I couldn't make it without people like Ahmed and Waleed. We've been together not as executive members but as brothers in the Islamic society for a long time. And without the brotherhood and sisterhood, without they are my family to me. And without the support of my family, my beautiful wife and 2 daughters and my son, my imams, my friends, I would not be able to make it. The one who need to be actually getting the rewards is Brother Ahmed, because since he joined us, for the last 15 years since Brother Ahmed joined us, he was like the dynamo, he was like the torpedo that brought life to the society, brought new energy, with all the dedication, extra time, after hours, all the support, all the new ideas, and dedication. We worked well as a team, and alhamdulillah, I'm really pleased. This is one of the things that made my life really has a meaning, is to try to give back to the Muslim community. And you can, those who work in the social life, they know the pleasure of giving back is more than the pleasure of taking from the community. So ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept that from all of us, and thank you all for your support. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
So, thank you everyone for this tonight, and I will leave it to the Brother Hani to conclude this event. Thank you everyone. Assalamu alaikum.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you and congratulations to our award recipients. And I do agree with Brother Adnan. Brother Ahmed definitely does deserve an award. But I've got to say, as a president, he's probably got the veto card, so he'll probably remove his name if you saw it. I would like to now invite the Honourable Zoe Beddison to deliver her vote of thanks. Please join me in welcoming her to the stage.
Good evening, everyone. Let me start by acknowledging that the land we meet on today is the traditional lands of the Ghana people, and that we respect their spiritual relationship with their country. I'm deeply honoured to be here today as your Minister for Multicultural Affairs. I'm joined by many of my parliamentary colleagues, including the Honourable Mira El Danawi, MLC, Honourable Sarah Gain, MC Honourable Jim Lee, MLC Senator Sarah Hanson-Young, Louise Miller-Frost, MP, Federal Member for Boothby, Honourable Tony Piccolo, MP, member for Light, and an absolute delight to have former Senator and Foreign Minister Bob Carr here with us this evening. Can I recognise Mayor Angela Evans from the City of Charles Sturt and Mayor Chris Hanna from the City of Marion. To your President, you've given out 4 awards to people, but we haven't had a chance to thank you. Over many years, we've had many conversations about your commitment to our Muslim community and the confidence and sense of belonging that we want to in each other. Thank you for your leadership. I know today is just part of the journey, but I want to deeply thank you for the work that you've done. Our speakers have taught that people around the globe, myself, the deep sadness and shock of the killings in Gaza. Everyone talks about humanity, and it's what we share. And the distress when we see before us that humanity is not at its centre. Can I welcome our new arrivals here from Gaza, tables 17 and 18. We welcome you to South Australia, but I know you had to leave people behind. We welcome you here and hope you thrive and flourish in our great city. Tonight we've come together on the 70th anniversary of the Islamic Society of South Australia. And I want to dedicate my speech when we think about standing on the shoulders of giants, that those that came before us. And I want to thank those that have volunteered for years, for decades, for those that have sponsored when they can. And I think about interconnectedness, which Professor Abdullah talked about. And you've invited the wider community in to celebrate with you, to share with you, to answer questions. The Mosque Open Day, the Ramadan Festival, Arts Month Festival. But I want to thank those that each and every week have put in the time, have left time away from their families, away from their work, to dedicate to the society. Those that have offered to teach weekly language classes. Those young people who have put their hand up to hold the youth groups. These are the people that we recognise today. We often talk about belonging in our society. We must support our children and our grandchildren to be equally proud of being Australian and their traditions, their culture and their heritage. When you grow up, it is challenging for everyone, but it's when you have people beside you as mentors, contributing their time to make you strong in who you are. That is what makes all the difference. To our imams who dedicate their lives to our community, I thank you. In recognising the 70 years of the Islamic Society of South Australia, the Premier of our state, Peter Malinauskas, will be moving a motion in Parliament to recognise this contribution of the association. This motion will be moved on the 16th of October in the State Parliament of South Australia. I invite each and every one of you to come and witness that motion and recognise the role of society in the past, the present, and of course the future as well. I talked about your President, who was thanking everyone else, and I'd like to invite him to the stage to give him a plaque to recognise the 70th.
Thank you, Honourable Zoe, and congratulations to Brother Ahmed and the Islamic Society of South Australia. I'd like to reiterate what the Honourable Zoe just mentioned, that there would be a passing of motion, or passing motion in Parliament Thursday 16th of October at 3:30 p.m. This is a significant acknowledgement, and if anyone would like to join, okay, please register with Sister Filza. It's a great opportunity to witness this moment firsthand. Also, the Honourable Jean Lee will be moving the motion to honour the 70 years of legacy of Issa on Tuesday the 14th of October. Now, let's have some fun. As I said before, we've prepared a Cahoots quiz with questions from tonight's documentary, Issa services and a few light-hearted extras. So please take out your phones. I want to see everyone's phone out. And please join in, and remember there are prizes for the top 3. How much you're paying attention. Okay, we'll begin in 30 seconds. Great, everyone's had a chance now. Let's begin. Straight for double points. When was the Islamic Society of South Australia incorporated? People that got it right, 1955. Who built Australia's first mosque? This is a type your answer, please. Which mosque was established in 1888? Another slider question. What year did the first camel land at Port Adelaide? When was the new building for Marion Masjid constructed? I think that's the President's son, right at the top. Which regional mosque is closest to Adelaide? Just note that currently we've got the President's son at the top of the scoreboard. Oh, just taking over. What year was Wandana Masjid expansion completed? On this one. When and where will the Al Salam Festival 2025 take place? November at Ellis Park. When was the last Salam Festival held before 2025? Table 8, you should be doing good at this as organisers. Which of the following is not a service provided by the Islamic Society of South Australia? According to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, what is the Muslim population in South Australia? That's still in the lead. When was PANSMA established? The Palestinian Australian New Zealand Medical Association. I reckon this is the first time the incorrect answer has the highest bar. That's still in the lead. Next question. True or false? PANSMA provides medical aid and training to Palestinians regardless of background. Who is the sponsor for tonight's event? There's a hint, I'm looking at him right now. They're still strong. So who is the managing director and founder of Salam Group? Seems like our best is pretty unbeatable at this stage. AHF provides support such as medical, financial assistance, education and health wellbeing programs. True or false? This one I would expect everyone to get right. Ooh, 15 people got it wrong. I don't know who. Best lad. Which of the following best describes AHF's mission? In which year was As-Salam Humanitarian Foundation founded? I hinted to that question earlier as well. Aid, you're gaining on our best. Keep going. When was the Smithfield Muslim Burial Section established? Is correct. Which principle guides the funeral services provided by the Islamic Society of South Australia? Funeral service includes transfers, usul, kafan, salat al-janaza, and burial. Is that true or is that false? Absolutely true. And our best put his hand up. I just want to know who. It's the youth that have got the top three. It's fun love. In what year was As-Salam Academy of Adelaide originally established? another society member, or his son maybe. When did the school's name officially change to Islamic Academy of Adelaide? True or false? Islamic Academy of Adelaide began in 1996 under the name Al-Farouk Arabic School. Second to last question. Who is ISA's first Imam? For those who haven't caught on, ISA is Islamic Society of South Australia. See why some people would think Imam Abdul Salam, but it wasn't. Last question, type your answers please. Guess who this person is? It was Ahmed Reka, the president. So, our top three winners are Wasif in third place, Catherine in second place, coming strong. And number one, is it still Abbas? It is Abbas, well done. Sister Filza, you can see them for awards, or you for their prizes? Sister Filza will see you after for prizes, inshallah, for those winners. As our evening comes to a close, I want to sincerely thank you all for joining us in celebrating 70 years of Islamic Society of South Australia. May this milestone remind us of the journeys we've travelled and challenges we've overcome, and the bright future we can build together. It takes a team of real, dedicated people to make a night like this happen with great success. So we would like to acknowledge these people and thank them from the bottom of our hearts. Sister Filza Ahmed, Sister Nur Hayati Rahim, Brother Hafiz Farouk, Brother Zuhair Maulawi, Brother Fattah Latifi, Sister Fatima Aslam, Sister Fadila Ramle, Sister Liane Zuraita, Sister Neng Siarina, our talented designer Yasser Abu Sha'ban, the Islamic Society of South Australia's board for their support, the Adelaide Convention Centre team. We are grateful for their dedication and role ensuring the event flows smoothly, and our appreciation goes beyond just this event. It extends to your efforts and your ongoing support to the Islamic Society of South Australia. Jazakumullah khair, and please join me in giving them a round of applause. This concludes our event for tonight. What a special event this was. It has been my absolute pleasure to have been your MC for the night. On behalf of the Islamic Society of South Australia, I wish you all a safe journey home. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.